Okay, bienvenidos. Welcome. This is Semana 3, guys. This is week 3. That's crazy. Estamos empezando capítulo 2, chapter 2 in Panorama. So we're going to go through some vocabulary, see if I can give you some tips on some of the more important things that are covered in this week. So firstly, on page 36 and 37, we have a picture of a schoolroom. The topic for this section is en la universidad, so in the university. So we're looking at a classroom and some different vocabulary. On your online text, you can click on the microphone or the speaker button, and listen to the pronunciation. I just want to go through some of these ones here on the right. So we have the Spanish word, the English word, and they're all things that are found in a typical classroom. So we're going to use this as a pronunciation exercise. So I'm going to read out the word in Spanish, have you repeat after me wherever you are, and then we'll talk about some of these concepts. So, clase repitan, la pizarra. La pizarra. The word for a chalkboard. El reloj. El reloj. And we talked before about that J being a really guttural sound. This one's at the end of the word, so it's a little bit different. Reloj, with a little bit of an aspiration there at the end. Clase repitan, el reloj. El reloj means a watch or a clock. So either a watch or a clock up on a wall. El mapa. El mapa. The map. La puerta. La puerta. La ventana. La ventana. La profesora. La profesora. El marcador. El marcador. Okay, this word for just a marker, a highlighter, any kind of magic marker type of thing is a marcador. El borrador. El borrador. That's an eraser. And the word for to erase, the verb is borrar. So borrador means a thing that erases. So an eraser. La papelera. La papelera. A trash can or a place, it's a wastebasket, specifically for paper. But that's la papelera. La mesa. La mesa, the table. La pluma. La pluma. Interestingly, pluma is also a Spanish word for feather. So if you think of the old time quill feathers or quill pens made out of feathers, that's where the etiology of this word comes from. El escritorio. El escritorio. The word for a desk also comes from the verb escribir, which means to write. So the thing that you write on is an escritorio. La silla. La silla. The chair. El libro. El libro. You already know when it's a book. La mochila. La mochila. The backpack. El estudiante. El estudiante. El papel. El papel. And again, we see a relationship between papel and papelera. So paper and place to throw away paper. El estudiante. El estudiante. Remember, that was one of those words we talked about in the very first week that could be made masculine or feminine just by changing the article. La calculadora. La calculadora. Calculator. Okay, so some basic vocabulary. You'll want to know these things. These will come up over and over again. You'll have these in your arsenal, especially as you talk with fellow students or people about what you're doing in school. On the chalkboard, in la pizarra, in the photo, is a list of 10 or so different classes in Spanish. And so as you go through that, it's particularly the classes that you yourself are taking, but learn those words there as well. Okay, so we're going to go through a couple different exercises here. On the left side, we have 6 different questions. On the right side are 7 different potential answers. You're actually going to match up the question with the correct answer. So go ahead and pause here just for a second and go through these 6 questions, decide which are the correct answers, and then we'll go through matching. I'll give you the answers, and we'll talk about pronunciation. Okay, muy bien. Número 1, clase repita. ¿Qué clase es? ¿Qué clase es? D. Es la clase de química. Es la clase de química. Número 2. Clase repitan. ¿Quiénes son? ¿Quiénes son? La letra G. son los profesores. Clase, repitan, son los profesores. So who are they? They're the professors. Número 3. ¿Quién es? ¿Quién es? Letra E. Es el señor Bastos. Clase, repitan, es el señor Bastos. Bien, número 4. ¿De dónde es? Clase, repitan, ¿de dónde es? Letra C. Es de Perú. Clase, es de Perú. Número 5. ¿A qué hora es la clase? ¿A qué hora es la clase? What time is the class? At what hour is the class? Letra F. Es a las 9 en punto. Clase, repitan. Es a las 9 en punto. Muy bien. Número 6. Clase, repitan. ¿Cuántos estudiantes hay? ¿Cuántos estudiantes hay? Y la respuesta es la A. Hay 25. Clase, repitan. Hay 25. Okay, muy bien. So some typical questions with some typical answers. Good job. Now we're going to look at days of the week. And this is going to be very useful. This will come into play a lot, not just in school, but the rest of your lives as you speak Spanish. So some things you'll have to learn. Just a couple tips. Days of the week are not capitalized in Spanish unless it's the first word of the sentence or the first word of a title. But just randomly in the middle of a sentence, they don't capitalize like we do, Monday, Tuesday, etc. Number 2, when you look at a Spanish calendar, and I'll show you an example here in just a second, lunes, which is Monday, is the first day of the week, not Sunday like ours. Now, there are some places where the Latin American world is starting to have things more similar to the way it's done in the rest of the civilized world. So you'll see sometimes that they will start with Sunday, but a typical traditional Latin or Hispanic calendar starts on Monday. And the way you'll know is by looking at it and knowing the days of the week. So you'll know if lunes, which is Monday, is the first day of the week or not. All days of the week are masculine in Spanish. And this is just like when we talked about time last week, we said that hour is always feminine because the main noun there is la hora, which is a feminine noun. When we talk about days of the week, the main noun there is el día. So el lunes, el martes, those are the days of the week we always use el in front because parenthetically we're talking about the word día. So all those words are actually modifying día, which is the word for day. So we have el lunes and los lunes. Those are the articles. We'll talk about when you pluralize that here in just a second. But in English, we would translate that as on. So la clase es el lunes. The class is on Monday. We don't write en there for on or a word for on. It's just understood with that article el. Okay? So to talk about days of the week, we just saw this in this example, in this exercise. ¿Qué día es hoy? Hoy is one syllable word. It's a word for today. So what day is today? And the answer is hoy es jueves, is Thursday, or es jueves. So hoy, meaning today is Thursday, or it's Thursday. So either one is correct. To talk about the date, the word in Spanish for date, as in a date in a calendar, is fecha. So clase repitan, fecha. Okay, so ¿cuál es la fecha hoy? What is the date today? Clase repitan, ¿cuál es la fecha hoy? Okay, and the answer, hoy es lunes, el 17 de septiembre. Today is Monday, the 17th of September, or just simplemente es el 17 de septiembre. So we'll learn those days of the week. We'll learn, you already know the numbers, again, 1 through 30, and we'll talk about days, months of the year here shortly. But that's how to ask what day is today, ¿qué día es hoy? And to talk about a specific date, ¿cuál es la fecha? And if you want to add today in there as well. Note this word fecha, again, means date from a calendar, does not mean like an appointment. So when you're asking out somebody on a date, you don't use the word fecha for that. There's a different word for that. So this is date as an only a numeral and a day on a calendar. All right, so let's look at a calendario. This is a sample calendario. Notice that it starts on lunes. So we're going to go to the days of the week. I will call them out and I'll have you repeat after me. So clase, el lunes, el lunes, el martes, El miércoles. El miércoles. El jueves. El jueves. El viernes. El viernes. El sábado. El sábado. El domingo. El domingo. Hey, how about this one? ¿Cuál es la fecha de hoy? Hoy es lunes, el 21 de agosto. Okay, muy bien. This one, a little bit more complicated. Here you have some different options. Going to complete each one with the correct day of the week. And then we'll go back and talk about it. And again, we're going to really focus on pronunciation as well as getting this right. So número uno, hoy es martes. So today is martes, Tuesday. So what is mañana and what is ayer? Ayer means yesterday, and fue is the past tense of ser, of to be. So yesterday was blank. So class, go and pause your computers, pause the video, and go through these 1 through 6, looking at filling in the blanks with what the days of the week are. Okay, and then come back and we'll talk about the answers and we'll talk about some pronunciation. Okay, muy bien. Número uno, hoy es martes. Today is Tuesday. Mañana es miércoles. Ayer, yesterday, was. Ayer fue lunes. Número dos, ayer fue sábado. Ayer fue sábado. Mañana es lunes, right? Yesterday was Saturday, which means today, hoy es domingo. It's almost like math for words, right? Número tres, mañana es viernes. Tomorrow is Friday. Hoy es jueves. Ayer fue miércoles. Número 4. Ayer fue domingo. Ayer, yesterday, fue domingo. Hoy es lunes. Mañana es martes. Número 5. Hoy es jueves. Hoy es jueves. Ayer fue miércoles. Mañana es viernes. Número 6. Mañana es lunes. Hoy es domingo. Ayer fue sábado. Okay? So if you didn't get those right, then again, as always, pause it, go back and look over the days of the week. Take a look at that calendar, figure out word math. So now we're going to go through the 1 through 6 again, just quickly, just for some pronunciation. So clase, repitan. Hoy es martes. Mañana es miércoles. Ayer fue lunes. Número 2. Ayer fue sábado. Mañana es lunes. Hoy es domingo. Número 3. Mañana es viernes. Hoy es jueves. Ayer fue miércoles. Número 4. Ayer fue domingo. Hoy es lunes. Mañana es martes. Número 5. Hoy es jueves. Ayer fue miércoles. Mañana es viernes. Número 6. Mañana es lunes. Hoy es domingo. Ayer fue sábado. Okay, muy bien. So at this point, you know the days of the week, you know how to say August at least, and you know the numbers. So you have most tools that you need to accurately talk about time, days of the week. Okay, just some review on pronunciation. We talked about from the very beginning, the key to pronunciation of Spanish is the vowels. The vowels are always consistent. This picture is kind of cute. It actually shows the shape that your mouth should make when you're pronouncing correctly the Spanish vowels. So just spend some time, and I would look at a mirror or look at yourself in your own camera and see how your shape the shape of your mouth matches the shape in these pictures. So A, E, I, O, U. Okay. So here's some examples of different pronunciation, again, of different Spanish words, and then some comparisons to the same sounds that are made by different letters in English. There's an exercise here with 8 words of cities or places in Spain, and you're going to hear a native Spanish speaker repeat these and then ask you to repeat after them. So here's an exercise of these 1 through 8.
Pronunciación. Spanish vowels. Práctica. Practice the vowels by saying the names of these places in Spain after the speaker.
1. Madrid. 2. Alicante. 3. Tenerife. 4. Toledo. 5. Barcelona. 6. Granada. 7. Burgos. 8. La Coruña.
Okay, muy bien. Again, the key to pronouncing in Spanish, the key to sounding good, speaking Spanish, are the vowels. So good job. Go back, pause anything that didn't quite click. Make sure you leave this section understanding the days of the week, how to ask what day it is, how to talk about a specific date, and then just review your pronunciation. So great job. Okay, here just quickly some other oraciones, sentences to practice, and I'll have you repeat after me. Número 1. Hola, me llamo Ramiro Morgado. Número 2. Estudio arte en la Universidad de Salamanca. Número 3. Tomo también literatura y contabilidad. Let me just give you a tip here on number 3. One of the biggest mistakes that we hear English speakers or non-native Spanish speakers with their pronunciation is that vowel I, the E. So like in number 3, we'll hear people say, tomo también literatura y contabilidad. You want to make sure that it's literatura, and you got to maybe elongate it out a little bit because you got to get that E sound. If you're using an I sound, that's just a giveaway. It's not going to help you with your pronunciation. So let's try number 3 again. Tomo también literatura y contabilidad. So you got a lot of I's in there. Tomo también literatura y contabilidad. Número 4. Ay, tengo clase en 5 minutos. Nos vemos. Okay, muy bien. So again, just help you get through some pronunciation there. Will make a big difference for you. Okay, as always, let me know what kind of questions you have. I'm here for you. I have the Zoom office hours. Send me an email, shoot me a message through Moodle, and we'll get some extra help for you. Okay, guys, have a great week.